So this section here is on the equation of circles. So if we look at our equation, we're going to have the center of a circle, and that's going to be at a point, h and k, and then the radius of the circle is our units. So to represent that, we use the equation x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals the radius squared. So we're just going to look at a few examples for writing the equation. So when we're plugging in, our h and k are going to be opposite because of subtraction there. So when I plug in, if it's a plus, I'm going to have a minus. If it's a minus, I'm going to have a plus, because minus a negative is a plus. So for this first one here, I'm just going to plug in. This is my h and k for my center. So the x and the y are going to stay, and then everything else should have numbers. So I'm going to have x and then minus 3 squared plus y. And now minus a negative 2 will become plus 2, and then squared. And we have to square our radius. So I'm going to do 5 squared, and that will give me 25. So that is the equation of my circle. Next one, same concept. Now at the origin, that means that I'm going to have the center at point 0, 0. So I don't really have to fill in anything for h and k, so I can just write that as x squared plus y squared. And that's going to equal the radius squared. Now if we square a square root, those are inverses of each other, so they cancel each other out. So then we're just going to be left with 3 there. And then lastly, given the center and the diameter, so we're first going to just have to find the radius, make that 6. And then same concept as before, this is h, this is k. So we're going to have x, excuse me, minus a negative, so plus 2 squared, and then plus y minus 5 squared equals, and then the radius squared, so 6 squared is 36. So this one we're going to be given the equation, and then we're going to have to graph the circle. So again, when we pull out our center, we have to remember that that was a minus there. So I just want to pull out h and k. I'm going to take the opposite. So the center for this one will be at negative 2, 1. And if we remember what we were doing here, to get the n number, we had to square the radius. So to undo it, I'm going to have to take the square root. So my actual radius then for this is going to be 4. So when we go to graph, we're just going to start at the center. So start at negative 2, 1. And then we're going to go right 4, up 4, down 4, and left 4. And put another point. And then those will be the 4 points for our circle. And we can just trace a circle around it. Next one, similar concept. So we're just going to pull out the 3, negative 2 for our center, and then the square root of 4 is 2, so then the radius will be 2. So we're going to plot a point at 3, negative 2, and then go 2 in all the directions for the radius, and draw a circle. This one here, now we're just given the picture, and then we're going to have to write the equation. So first thing we're going to want to do is just pull out the center there. So our center is at 0, 3, and our radius is 2. So now it's just like the problems we were doing in the beginning. So since it's just 0, I can just write it as x squared, and then plus y minus 3 squared, and then the radius squared is 4. Now our last example, same thing, we have to write the standard equation given the center, and then it passes through a point on the circle. So we don't have the radius, so we're going to first have to find the radius. So I'm going to do the distance formula to find the radius between the center and then that point on the circle. So I'm going to do 2 minus 1 squared plus 2 minus a negative 3, so plus 3 squared. So that's going to simplify down to 1 squared plus 5 squared. So that's going to give me 1 plus 25, which gives me the square root of 26 as my radius. So then now I have my center, I have my h and k, and now I have my radius. So I'm going to plug into the formula, x minus 1 squared plus y and then minus negative, so plus 3 squared equals, and then the radius squared. So again, when we square a square root, it cancels itself out. So we are just left with 26 there.